Good day, warriors. Let me tell you something. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is coming out pretty soon, right? Probably already by the time this video published, I don't know. I just finished the first game about a month ago. This is my comprehensive pain review of the game. I do this all the time on my streams when I finish the game. So enjoy or don't enjoy this video starting about now. Deliverance. Now I'm gonna talk about like super good stuff first. Oh, my cat is talking. I'm just gonna wait until he's gonna be done. Be quiet, Garfield. Stop. I know you ate. I know you satisfied. Let me play some music in the background. So basically, amazing experience. Hard to describe, honestly. Like, there's so many thoughts. There's so many positives. There's some negatives. Overall, like, without going like deeper into like details discussing the stuff, if you think about trying the game, like if your question is should you try it, 100% yes. Yes, you should try the game. Hold. What's now?
Charge! Grind those.
Oh! Oh! Will you like it? I think yes. Like, I think there's a high chance that you're gonna like the game, but I can also see that some people not gonna be able to play this game and finish it, or stop playing the game at some point because of, you know, whatever reason. Like there's some reasons why I can see why some people won't be able to finish this game or won't like it. It's not perfect, though. Again, I'm gonna say with 100% certainty, it's a unique experience that everyone should give a chance. You should try it 100%. At least like to play like first like maybe 10 to 20 hours and just to see from there. Now we're gonna talk about like a more one of the positives that I don't have the problems with at all. It's gonna be music. Look at Henry. Oh shit! Sound track, sound design overall, I guess. Sound design, and I don't know if it's any different than score. Like all together, everything that is related to sound, music design, score, all together. Whoever was in charge of all of this, I mean, I know it's different people, but you know, it's probably one department. They did an amazing job. Definitely, they did an amazing job. Such a unique, like, music, score, like background music, their background soundtrack, sound effects when you're fighting someone, when you wherever you perform some kind of action in the game, you're riding a horse, you drinking, just walking into the tavern, and then you hear this kind of music playing on the background. Damn, this is the best part. It's amazing. And the reason why it's amazing, because everything all together, it makes immerse you into the world, into the story way more than you would expect. When you go, again, same example I'm gonna say, like you go into the inside some kind of tavern, and then you see people walking around, they're playing like a dice, they cooking, they just talking to each other, and then the music starts playing, the soundtrack starts playing on the background. It makes everything even more alive. Or if it's and also sets the mood overall. This is like one of the things that definitely cannot complain about. Another thing I want to mention, besides this, that I think was like one of the surprising things, is that the game performance, also one of the good things. I only had 2 crashes throughout the entire game, and I played over 100 hours. For such a huge game, it's just exceptional job. I know as of 2025 I'm saying this because I finished. Okay, now it's 2025. Well, technically I've been playing this most of the 2024, but nevertheless it doesn't change anything as of right now. Basically, if you're gonna play the game, you will probably not expect any kind of issues. I hope. My computer is not crazily like the expensive. I don't have some kind of like super I don't have like some kind of I don't have an expensive graphics card. It's like 3080. It's pretty basic, right? It's as of right now I think it's pretty basic graphics card. It's not, I mean, yeah. And as of right now, I didn't have any performance issues. I didn't have any serious bugs. There was one bug throughout, like the one bug that I had is that I couldn't finish one of the side quests. But honestly, it wasn't a big deal because there was like another way to finish that side quest, even though not the way I wanted to. But it doesn't matter because there's so many side quests, and there's like only one that I had like one specific issue, but the rest of the game was smooth as butter.
I advise caution, sir. Would you cast doubt on the authority of the church in this trial?
I will no longer tolerate this humiliation. Get out of my way.
Oh my god. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What the hell? He's like, I'm changing my mind. On the other hand, again, performance exceptionally. It works exceptionally well right now. I don't know how it was back in the day when the game was released. Maybe it was broken. You know, like it's Eastern European game, right? Probably had a lot of issues, I assume. And they patched it. So now if you're gonna play it in 2024, you're probably not gonna have any issues. I hope so. Maybe I just got lucky. Another thing that I think is amazingly done, it's graphics and art design. Well, can you say art direction? You can say art direction too. Graphics. The game looks beautiful. Definitely looks beautiful. All this grass, trees, all this like Eastern European kind of environment. Again, I was born in Russia, so I got like huge vibes, like kind of flashbacks. Because I actually have seen it in real life, and going into this game, I can say 100%. It can actually it depicts perfectly like the Eastern European nature. The trees, everything is green. The weather, all together, and well, it's the again, I'm talking from like a graphics point of view, like just about the graphics, just overall, it looks beautiful, and it doesn't really like take away from the immersion. It's pretty unique, actually. I would say, like the design of the characters, the way everything looks, and art design as well. This is like, I'm talking about graphics, I guess, and art design all together, because it's kind of, I think they like work together in this case. In this sense, how the things look inside the houses, how the things look outside of the outside in the nature, like everything looks so authentic to the real world. I know the game is based based of the real history events and historical context being used a lot, references, historical references. They've tried to make this game as realistic as they can, and you definitely can see it in this game. Gotta stop this. Actually, I would say art design is amazing. When you go inside like a random house and you just check what they have there, like benches, cups, food, people walking, the way they dressed, attire, it's just beautifully done. I have not a single problem with it. I'm just I'm thinking about what, maybe there's something I can think of that I might didn't like about it, but I can't. If I have some kind of problem with it, it probably must. It's probably just because of how old the game is, because it was released about how many? When the game was released? 2018. Still, it's about 7 years ago, and for a 7 years old game, if there is something that I kind of maybe when I was playing caught my eyes and I was like, that's a little bit questionable, not really that interesting, I can always say that, well, the game was released like 7 years ago, so maybe they had some limitations. Maybe details somewhere there and there could be improved. There, like, okay, here's an example that I had in my. I wasn't sure if I want to talk about it. It's just at some point, you notice that like when you go inside the houses, you realize that they use the same assets from there, and there. There's not a variety. Like, let's say if there's a bench, you're gonna see the same bench everywhere. There may be one additional variation to that bench, from being a long bench to a short bench, but still most of the time you're going to be seeing exactly the same. Most of the houses not going to be that different from each other, except very cannot stop, except maybe important places, like quest important places that you visit. But if it's just a bunch of like random houses in the city, probably if you go to one or two of those, you will see the same exact stuff in the rest of the houses in the entire game. That would be a lot of modeling. Yes, that would be a lot of modeling for sure. That's why I'm not saying this is an issue. This is just a limitation. Probably time also played a big role. Like, they had to finish the game, so it would be a lot of time to design that kind of stuff. So it's definitely not an issue. Another big thing that I would say, I don't know how exactly describe it. Like historical. I'm gonna put comma, context, accuracy, and accuracy. Historical inspiration, context, references. For me, background, the game sound is really low in general. Okay, I see. And accuracy. This is like a big plus. This is something that I remember developers, when they announced the game, it's one of their biggest features, that everything is going to be realistic, everything is going to be accurate, historically accurate. There's going to be a lot of historical context, references, and overall, it's not going to feel like you're playing a fantasy world. It's not going to feel like the world is something that just they solely created. Basically, it's just they came up with this. No, especially at the end of the game when you read the credits, there was a special thank you session where they were just saying that thank you to this museum, thank you for this. The producers wish to thank the following for their assistance. National Gallery in Prague, Forum the Faculty of Arts, City Forum Berlin Town. Like a lot of historical, I guess, places. Person who helped, like some kind of, I guess, a professor, history professor. Oh yeah. So, I love that. Yes, they spent so much time on that. They were trying to make it as historically accurate as they could, and I could see it definitely in like every dialogue, in every even like in the environment itself, in gameplay, how NPC behave, how some of the social, how the structure of the quests, narratively, of course. That's like the most important thing. Narratively, they would just there and there kind of teach you, educate you what happened on in those times. So, and you know what's the most important? It doesn't feel like it's a history lesson. No, really. Like sometimes I had this question, okay, what's going on? I didn't know this term. It's pretty old. Could you please explain it to me? Like I felt it sometimes, but the game did a really great job explaining you some of the things that might be confusing, especially through the main character, who would be just keep asking the questions like, what is bailiff? Who is bailiff? Who is this guy? What do they do? And etc. So you don't really feel lost, maybe sometimes, but it didn't bother me at all. So now we're gonna get to a more kind of questionable section of the game. And the first thing that I want to say is definitely that I would like to see in the second game to be improved drastically, even though I still enjoyed it. It's combat, more particularly camera, plus fighting crowds, fighting a few enemies at the same time. This is like my biggest complaint that I have. Camera. For the combat. This is like the biggest issue. This is like the biggest thing that would frustrate me so much sometimes. I don't know how like they didn't fix it or thought it's okay, but camera, when you're fighting, like, here's the thing. It seems like initially the game was created for the sort of one-on-one fights only, because it gives you perks where you can execute sort of combos. You learn new combos with this sword, with this weapon, and usually those combos, like you have this like at the center, you know, like you have different directions that you can, like when you focus on an enemy, you have different directions where the sword you can swing your sword from. Like you can go from the right top, from the left top, from the bottom to right, from the bottom left. Also, you can do like this kind of movement where you just trying to how would you say, poke the enemy with your sword, right? So you have this like circle when you're like aiming at your enemy. So this thing, most of the time when you're trying to execute combos, right? I'm just gonna put it right here. Not that they don't work. Combos are useless. And I'm gonna highlight this. The game teaches you and tells you, hey bro, you can fight someone, you can learn these combos, you can do like from the left, from the bottom, from the right, and then your hero is gonna execute this kind of special move. Basically invest your point into this kind of thing. But they just don't work. You will never use combos. It just doesn't make any sense for you to use combos. And you know why? Because of the camera. Because of the camera, it's chaotic. It just jumps. Like when enemies rushing towards you, at the same time you're fighting 3 people at the same time. Usually you will be fighting more than one person. Here's the thing, like 90% of the time when you go somewhere, you will be fighting only one enemy. Oh, sorry. You'll be fighting several enemies, never one person. No, I'm not saying never. Most of the time you will be fighting several enemies at the same time. Like 80% of the time, 90% of the time. And when you get into that kind of situation, you won't be able to execute any of your combos because you know what's gonna happen. Your camera is gonna keep jumping between the enemies all the time. Left to the right, bottom. I hate the camera. Camera, please! Camera, please! I hate this camera. I cannot... What's happening? What's happening right now? What's happening? Here. Because they keep rushing you one by one. And you need to focus your you want to kind of focus your character towards the enemy that is rushing towards. You want to focus you want to aim your character at the enemy that is trying to attack you at the moment. But it takes some time to do that. And sometimes camera won't even allow you to do that. It just will stick to a very specific person in front of you. It will focus on that person. You want to switch. You want to fight the other guy. And guess what's going to happen? You're not going to switch. The camera won't switch for you. There is a trick. And I think that's what the developers did. Thought is going to help you to fight several guys at the same time is by pressing tab. You know, I'm just gonna press the tab twice and my camera is gonna refocus on the closest enemy. I think that's how it works, on the closest enemy. The thing is, it also doesn't really work. I tried it many times. I mean, I'm pressing tab two times on my keyboard. It wouldn't switch. Or it would, but there would be some kind of delay. So it's really impossible. It's always chaotic and weird to fight several enemies at the same time. What the hell are these guys? Oh, my bad. Oh, shh. You know what? Let's fight. Oh, let's dance. Oh my god. Ah! I'm dead! Okay. Don't lose my cool. Let's play around the tree.
What's the matter?
This is bad. This is bad. This is bad.
I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you. Take that.
You'll get what for.
Is that all you've got?
Curse it!
This is where I think they should have stepped away from realistic approach and make it actually less realistic. They should have kind of tweaked the AI a little bit in a favor of the player. Again, in real life, I think that's what the thought process. In real life, enemies, when you fight three guys at the same, they will be trying to punch you, hit you at the same time. They will all be rushing towards you because, you know, you're fighting against the crowd. They're not gonna wait their turn. And that was the logic behind it, I think. Let's just make that all the enemies will be trying to kill you. That's what they want to go, and that's what's gonna happen in real life. Unfortunately, in the game like this, where the camera is not working correctly, it's crazy. You cannot have that. It's actually more frustrating than fun. In this case, I think they could have stepped away, tweak AI a little bit, so the enemies would take their turn, but sort of naturally. You know, they would scream something like, "Hey, you got this, right?" Like to one of their, let's say like there's two enemies, they're standing next to each other. "Okay, you go next. I'll attack from the behind," or something like that. And it would take like the enemy a few seconds to go around you to attack you. Maybe slow down enemy speed, because when they're running towards you, they're running so fast, like they're running a marathon. They go around, so you gotta react super fast, but you can't. The camera is not gonna allow you to do that. It's probably what's gonna happen. It's gonna keep jumping between the enemies, and you won't be able to see everything. You won't be able to defend yourself sometimes, and it just becomes purely chaotic. And as I mentioned before, combos, they don't work. When you're fighting a crowd, which you're gonna be doing, I'm repeating myself, you're gonna be fighting several people at the same time most of the game. You will never be fighting someone one-on-one. Oh, yeah, never. Rarely you will be fighting someone one-on-one. Rarely. And combos, you can't really execute them when you're fighting three people at the same time. One is running towards you, trying to hit you, you deflect or you block. Second guy runs from the right, you have to defend yourself from the right. And let's say you got this window where you start attacking like 1, 2, 3, 4, someone's gonna hit you behind and they're just gonna stop your combo. And what's the worst thing, what's even worse is that combos really hard to execute actually. Like, I don't know about the controllers, like on PlayStation 4, on Xbox, like with the controllers, how easy it is. Maybe it's easier, but using the mouse, it was weird. I was be able to execute, let's say I would fight one-on-one, I was be able to execute combos maybe, I would say a little bit less than 50% of the time. It wasn't even 50-50, it was less than 50-50. I don't know how precise you should be with your sword. I mean, with your movements, with your mouse movement. But I wasn't be able to properly execute some of the combos, especially combos that require you to move the mouse in in more than 3 different directions. It was just impossible. Not impossible, pretty hard, and I would say also on the top of that, unnecessary. The combat works in such a way that it basically favors towards to learning how to deflect or defend yourself rather than actually fighting, actually attacking the enemy. It's much easier to, I even have like a video about it, where you can just look at the enemy, and every time when they're trying to attack you, you can just press Q and you attack them back. You're gonna do the parry, and just doing parries alone can take you really, really far. You don't really have to learn those combos. There's no really like a huge benefit, like there's no really benefits to them as far as I know. Like I tried to execute the combos and to see if like, oh, I'm gonna kill enemies more effectively. No, I wasn't. It really felt like the best way is to basically parry everything that goes into your way.
Give up!
What? Oh, for the first blood, bro. I saw the blood coming out of his mouth. I won. Who's bleeding? They're trying to attack you, Q, parry, and you attack them back. With the shield, the same thing. You can just like take your shield. It's even more. Actually, the shield is something that effective against crowds. When 2 enemies trying to attack you, you don't know what to do. You can just block at least 2 different directions. But the enemies, you know, they're smart. They're realistic. They're trying to behave like real humans, so they will go around behind you really fast. So shield might be not also be the best option. The best strategy I found is just to shoot as many enemies as you can from far away, and hoping that 1 or 2 gonna be left so you can deal with them and start actually dueling. -1.
Beszarás, és pont amikor...
Minus.
Vigyázz! Itt az ellenség! Nem hiszem el! Emberek, vigyázat!
I think the game kind of puts the emphasis on that kind of gameplay. I have no idea. That's sort of like the best and safe option. And fighting the crowds, it's always like it's always you're putting yourself in unnecessary disadvantage. But the game wants you to fight. Like they have these combos, they have these things that you can do, like that you can upgrade. But it feels like the game doesn't want you to use them. Yeah, we give you this combo that you can execute, but you can't. I'm sorry. Like we're gonna send 4 or 5 people fighting you. Do whatever you want. So learning combos is just a waste of time. Instead, you can just deflect everything, parry everything, and it's much more effective. I was literally fighting a duel against someone. Like I was participating in a tourney that they have, like a DLC tourney, and I was just, without even looking, I was taking a keyboard and I was just pressing Q every time when I was getting attacked, and I was fighting back. I was parrying everything. Oh, kind of broken. They gotta fix this. And one of the, I think the way they can fix it is by getting rid of one of the directions that they have, like that you can, remember I said you can aim, you can swing your weapon from 5 different directions, right? but instead of having 5, maybe take the bottom ones and combine them together. And it seems like that's what they're gonna do in the sequel. I watched the gameplay video, and it seems like that's what they decided to go with. They just united the 2 bottom directions into one. So maybe it will fix the issue, and combo is gonna be easier to execute. And maybe they're gonna play with the NPCs AI a little bit, make it less realistic, so you could actually fight the crowd. Okay, this is one thing. Oh, besides that, you know, like the rest of the stuff, it's pretty good. I like dueling against someone 1-on-1. When you're actually fighting against someone 1-on-1, I enjoyed it so much. Finally! Yeah! I felt like a knight who actually learned something and used my combo. So besides these 2 things, like camera and fighting crowds, you can use, there's a variety of things you can use. You can use your bow and arrows. You can shoot someone from far away. It's pretty challenging, but you can do it. You can do some stealth kills. There's basically a lot of ways to deal with enemies. That's a plus. But these 2 things I just gotta highlight. Another thing that I wanna mention that I think is the problem, I wanna kind of combine it into just maybe 1 or 2 words. This is something, if this is like super negative, like this like one thing, then I have like a question. It's actually gonna be like what I'm gonna say right now. This combat problem is gonna be part of this problem. Realistic approach to some. This is like the fact that the game is trying to be realistic. It has a lot of mechanics there and there that you have to sort of deal with and accept as the part of the world. That's something that you have to do all the time, like sleeping. Like there's like basic stuff, not just there's a basic stuff and there's not basic stuff. The basic stuff is like eating, drinking, not drinking, just eating basically, sleeping, what else, and control your health, right? Like stop bleeding. Those are like basic things. But on top of that, they try to use this realistic approach to so many different mechanics as well. What example can I provide that was sort of annoying? Okay, this is one thing. Quest design. So a lot of quests. I'm not gonna say the majority. I'm just gonna say a lot of quests in the game require you to travel a lot. And I know it's gonna sound weird, but I will try to explain. Like sometimes you go to a city, you want to pick up a quest, and the quest will be something like, "Hey, can you please go to this place, go to this place, and go to this place and talk to these people?" Narratively, makes sense. You know, the people live in different towns, they offer different services or the things that you need. But from it's also like a realistic too. It's just sometimes it's too much traveling. Usually grain, Tombergs. Oh my god! No! It's the game is sends you over to different parts of the area unnecessarily often. I don't know why. Wait, I mean, again, I can see why would they do, like they want to utilize maybe the area, but at the same time they're trying to narratively explain like, well, we need a priest. Oh, there's one priest in this town, so you gotta to go to that town. But maybe sometimes they could have not do that and just say, okay, we need this guy, you gotta talk to him, but make that guy not to be 3,000 miles away. Make that guy to be maybe in the same town. Maybe like the idea was is that you gotta go and explore, and again, people living like in different town, they cannot be like all in the same place. I get it, but it just happens a little too often that they send you away and then it will tell you, okay, you gotta come back and tell me what you saw. Instead of trying to make some of those quests to be sort of local. Like you pick up quests in Ratai, in one city, in one town, and you finish it in Ratai. You don't have to go really. You don't have to travel to a different part of the map just to find out that you spend your time for nothing or just for a little conversation, and then you have to go all the way back to complete the quest. I think it has something to do with the realistic approach. I might be wrong. It's just like one of the examples that comes to my head right now is that, oh, also this is definitely part of the realistic approach, is that some quests, they have time limit. They basically tell you, this is like I think the safest example I can give without spoiling much. Like there's gonna be a quest where you get to the place with a lot of wounded people, and it's gonna give you a quest to help them. And what happened to me is that I wasn't really thinking about okay, those guys probably gonna die soon if I'm not gonna help them. The game tells you somewhere in the beginning that some quests have time limits, so you gotta be careful. You gotta be trying to finish everything what you pick up as soon as you can. But it doesn't happen often. I would say maybe only 30%, 20 to 30% of all the quests in the game have time limit. So you forget about that fact, right? And the game also wouldn't try to remind you. Like you have to just think about like logically for yourself, like, okay, this guy needs help right now. But again, you're just a player and sometimes you forget about it. And I failed some quests like that. Did I fail the quest? How? Because I just didn't know. Oh, these quests has a time limit. How was I supposed to know? Sometimes I'll give it them. Sometimes they directly tell you, like in a conversation with the NPC, hey Henry, hey dude, you gotta help them right now, okay? You gotta do something right now. You have 5 days. He tells you, he clearly states it right to your face. And this is like the best thing they can do. And sometimes they just forget about mentioning that. They'll just tell you like, okay, you gotta go there and help me out, okay? You're like, okay, fine. You go do something else. You do some other quest because maybe the quest that you just picked up sends you really far away to a different town. You just don't have the time to deal with it. You just want to do something right there, right now. So you do some other quests, and then, boom, there's like very specific sound. Boom, quest fail. You weren't there. You didn't finish what you were supposed to do on time, and you were thinking, how is supposed to know? The NPC didn't really mention that you have to do this as soon as you can, right? So it's more frustrating that it's actually like a fun experience. So I wish not to get rid of those time limit quests. No, this is a cool feature. There's just a problem with it. So I hope in the next game, if they're gonna decide, okay, this specific quest is gonna have time limit, so you gotta finish it in a couple days, state that information to the player's face. Don't make me to assume that the quest is on time limit. Tell me about that. Like when I'm talking to an NPC, make the NPC saying by the end of the conversation, bro, go do this. You have 3 days. And sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. So maybe there's some kind of issue. Maybe they just maybe I wasn't paying attention enough and they actually mention sometimes, but it doesn't feel like it. Or you also can mention that in the journal. There's a journal in the game, so you can kind of like go back to the journal and just maybe make a remark. Okay, you'll have a few days. I don't think it's necessarily gonna hurt the realism. I think it's gonna get rid of some of the annoying stuff and actually make it more fun. At the same time, you're gonna keep your realism in there. Oh, there's like there are perks, right? There are perks that are related to realism. For example, there's a perk I think called Perfect Diet, which basically tells you that you have to keep your food level between 50 and 100 all the time for 5 days straight, or 4 to 5 days, and then this is only time when the perk activates. So when you get the perk, it's not gonna work right away. You will have to kind of maintain the diet for 5 days for its activation. And I was okay with that, you know, like I was, well, that's pretty good, so I'll do it. And I thought this perk is, once after 5 days of maintaining my diet, is gonna stay with me, right? No, it's not. After you get it, after 5 days of trying to maintain it between 50 and 100, you get the perk. But as soon as you, like, your food level gonna go above like 101 or 49 outside of these numbers, you're gonna lose your perk instantly. And you're gonna be surprised how easy it is to, by accident, to fail this perk activation requirement. Easy you can fail it. You need to drink potions, you need to eat some stuff, you need to replenish your health. You drink, you eat, and some pretty constantly. And they all the food, they have different, like, the food level that it gives you. Like, let's say a sausage can give you 17, and if you're gonna drink like some kind of alcohol, it can give you 20 nourishment. And you can easily miscalculate by 1 or 2 and go above or below the number. And it's actually annoying than and more fun. Again, this is like one of the examples. Just in this case, they could have, okay, you activate your perk, you waited 5 days, and it's gonna stay with you. That's it. You're done. You finish your job. Plus, the perk doesn't really give you really crazy benefits. It gives you like 1 agility and something else, I think. It doesn't sound that crazy. So if you want to do something like this, if you want to do like this kind of perks, maybe you should consider to give more benefits, because it's pretty hard just to maintaining this kind of stuff. And again, these 2 examples, I know they like sound pretty small, but there's just so many of these little things there and there that could be just kind of, they could have been balanced. I feel like any player that's gonna play the game, they're gonna have something that they're gonna find frustrating in the game. There's gonna be some kind of realistic thing that just will be annoying. And I think they could have done a better job to avoid that. Again, I know it's a direction of the game. Okay, we want to have a realism. But at the same time, if you think about it, they don't really go to crazy realism. Like, there's so many things they just ignore for the sake of, like, let's say balancing stuff, or like game logic. Here's an example. Like, this is why I'm saying, like, they could have turned it down. It's like they don't have to do this everything. They have this thing that if you steal someone else's stuff, right? If you're gonna steal someone else's clothes from the house, from the trunk, or you're gonna steal just the food, or like a little thing like lockpicks, bandages that doesn't really have sort of value, they're not really that special, right? Like, simple example, you can steal apple. And you know what? Somehow the guards, when they arrest you, let's say they saw you stealing something, when they arrest you, they know exactly what you stole. How is it even possible? Like, even, let's say you steal something from one city, you go to, from one town, you go to a different town, the guards, like, it's still marked in your inventory as stolen things. And you cannot sell it to anyone besides very specific traders that buying stolen goods. And it just doesn't, like, if this game is trying to be realistic, why not be, I know it's gonna, here's the thing, I know it's gonna break the game, but they could have maybe do something different. Like, if they're, like, in this specific case, they can close their eyes to the fact that this thing is not realistic, they can just like, oh whatever, yeah, we have to make sure that the stolen goods always will be marked and you can be arrested for them and you cannot sell it to anyone because you can become rich extremely fast and break the game, buy some of the most expensive sports right from the beginning of the game if you're gonna be good at it. If they can close their eyes to this kind of issue, maybe they can also kind of figure out or close their eyes to some other thing. Because it was really annoying the fact that people, like, I was thinking I would steal something from one city, go to a different city, and then I'll just sell it. I guess it kind of makes sense if you steal something in one town and you're gonna try to sell the same things at that town. People will recognize, oh, I lost my, I don't know, you steal like maybe like a piece of armor, and then you're gonna try to sell that piece of armor to the guy who buys it. He will be like, okay, you know what, I recognize it, it doesn't belong to you, you didn't buy it. I can believe that. But the fact is, it's always like stays in your inventory as a stolen good, even though you go to a different town and want to try to sell it, they're not gonna buy it. How, like, how do they know? How do they know it's not yours? How the guards know that the things that you have in your inventory are stolen and they take it away? How? How is it possible? Realistically, it should not be happening. And the game is trying to be realistic, right? But they had to close their eyes to this. And again, they could have kept it, but maybe do something differently. Let's say if you steal apples, nobody's gonna care about apples. You can keep them, and after like some time, they become your own. You steal apples, after a couple hours, that check mark in your inventory that on the apple will disappear, and now it becomes yours. But if you're gonna steal like some kind of very rare piece of armory, like let's say a sword that was made for a very specific person that only specific person carries all the time, then you can, that stolen mark will stay on that item for a very long time, maybe like weeks or days, and eventually it's going to disappear. And maybe it will never disappear in the town where you stole it from. It's always going to be marked as a stolen good and varies in that specific town. Like, here's the thing, yeah, I gave you this many examples, right? That's what I'm saying, like, their realistic approach to some things is just, it gotta be balanced better. There's so many things I can mention that they could have just done differently, make it more fun, at the same time not taking away from realism. But it seems like almost every decision that they were trying to make, they were trying to solely kind of think about, well, in real life it doesn't work that way, so that's how it's gonna be. And I don't think it's a good idea. If it would be like a medieval knight, 100% it would be medieval knight simulator, right? Let's say like Euro Truck Simulator or Plane Simulator, Car Simulator, where everything is super detailed, everything's super realistic. If it would be like that, a medieval knight experience, okay, but this is not really, even though it's trying to simulate the real world, there's so many times it's still a game. It's still trying to be fun. It's still trying to, you know, as I said, like close their eyes on some things, so this game would feel like a game and less a simulator of a medieval knight in 1408. I forgot the year when the game is what's the game set in. I hope it makes sense. Just better balance realistic things that they have. Like they have the mechanics, realistic approach, right? Just balance it better, make it as less annoying as you can. It also, again, like this thing is connected to the AI problem that enemies jump on you all at the same time. Yes, it's realistic. Is it fun? Not really. Tweak it a little bit, make them, I'm not saying like make them to take their turns like in Batman Arkham series, you know, where you fight one guy and there's like 20 people around you just waiting until you finish with one guy and then the second guy jumps. No, of course not. It will be like kind of stupid. But you can, I can see there's so many options. You can just go and tweak AI a little bit, so it would be easier on the person to do certain things like executing combos Or like riding horse, that's another problem. Like riding horse, getting stuck everywhere. Realistically, that's how it would happen. Is it necessary? I don't think so. You could easily make some bushes to be something you can just ride through. You don't have to make every single let's say if you ride your horse pretty fast and there's something you touched by 1 pixel by texture, it will make your character fall off the horse. Just because realistically that's probably how it would happen. Should it be happening all the time? No. Sometimes it's fun. I had my fun with it. Like sometimes you just ride and you just hit some random obstacle out of nowhere, you didn't see it at all, and then you stand up and you think, how did I hit that? How did I fall off the horse here? It doesn't make sense. What did I hit? They could have avoided that. Maybe done it a little differently. So yeah, actually I should have put this like in a little bit separate section. Like just, I want to say something really good about quest design basically. Quest design or narrative overall. Big plus, minus, plus and minus. So, like, this is a good thing, good stuff. I mean, put double plus for all these things. Minus, I know it's probably not gonna make much sense, but it's just to see what's negative, what's the positive. Quest design and narrative overall, amazing. Like I don't want to. There is a problem, and I will mention that. Let's say this is the first game that I played in a while that this game basically respects my intelligence. This game, the quests, they actually narratively written in such a way that you don't feel stupid. You feel like some of the quests, not all of them, of course not, but there's a good amount of quests that actually don't give you all the directions, all the information that you need to know to complete the quest. It doesn't tell you, hey, go from point A to point B, come back to point A, you completed the quest. No. This is not how it works. In reality, like it doesn't really tell you, okay, you gotta go from point A, this is where you pick up the quest, to go point B, this is where you like either like fight, like fetching quests. It doesn't have something like that, where you just talk to someone, take something, kill someone, and you go back to point A. No. There is some quests like that, of course. There are some fetching quests. There's some simple quests that just you will complete in a second. But there's a good chunk of quests that this is where you take the quest. It gives you some information. Let's say you need to achieve, like you need to kill someone. Let's say you need to kill someone. That's your task. Sounds simple, right? And you need to kill. So F is gonna be killing. That's your task. That's what the game tells you. You gotta kill this guy. You gotta get here, and it will give you options, right? Like you can go way B, you can go way C, D, and E, and it doesn't really explain you how. So you have all these options, but the game doesn't really tell you that you have these options, right? It makes you to sort of choose by yourself. It won't tell you can do, like some of the quests, they kind of like telling you, yeah, you can do this, but maybe you can also do this. But there's also some like secret kind of ways to complete some of the quests. So you do this, and then you go to, and then you get to the point F where you kill someone, you complete the quest. And on top of that, right, there is so much room for making a mistake. There's so much room for like the game gives you like it doesn't tell you how to achieve your points, like how to get to the specific point. It can tell you, it can provide you very little information, And then based on that information, you have to solve. I wouldn't call it a puzzle. How can I explain it? I'll give you example. Actually, I will give you example. I think it will be better. I'm gonna try not to spoil everything. There is a quest that you do. It's a side quest where you're helping the Ratai executioner, right? The executioner is asking you to basically figure out some information how to execute certain people. It tells you, okay, we need to find a way how to punish those people for whatever reason. There's like a main, like there's a there's a reason why you have to do it, but he's asking you at the moment, can you find the way how properly punish those people? And then he tells you there is information that you can find by going to this house in the city and read the book about it. So you go there, you read the book, and the book gives you like so much information. It gives you so many room for making a mistake. You have to actually read about it. You actually have to concentrate and put 2 + 2 together. The executioner will provide you with some information that you have to remember. You can also go to the journal, but it's not going to give you everything. So you go to that book, you open the book, you start reading, and you're trying to like, okay, this guy needs to be executed by this way because in the book, you know, it makes sense. And you can easily make a mistake. You can misread something, or you can not pay enough attention. And this is where the game can punish you. And honestly, it's amazing. Like, I like that this game respects my intelligence. It actually gives me like options, and I have to explore those options by myself. And you can easily fail 1 or 2, maybe 3 quests in the game. Here's another example I can give. Again, I'm trying not to spoil as much. One of the quests that you do, it's one of the main quests. Basically, you will have to find a person at a very specific location, but you don't really know who the person is. So you have to basically figure it out. Like literally, the game doesn't provide you much information besides this person at this location. Find him. You go to the location and you start exploring and you start basically investigating. You could easily make a mistake and not find the person that you're looking for. On the top of that, again, there's so many secret options, so many secret paths that you can take to complete the quest. Narratively, amazing. And I want to also compliment writing. All the dialogues in the game, all the conversations, again, seems to be historically accurate. On the top of that, they're very all the dialogues like that I've seen, they're very natural. When you're talking to some kind of, you know, lower class villager who doesn't know how to read, who lives a very simple life, the way he's going to be talking to you in a very simple manner. But then when you're talking to someone who comes from a high society, you know, like kings, or not kings, but people that are rich, that come from high society, well-mannered, they're going to be talking in a different way. And there's actually like a perk in the game that you can choose if you want to get bonus to speaking to the people basically that are peasants, that simple people, villagers, or you want to have a bonus when you're speaking to aristocrats, basically like rich people with a high education. I don't know how you can call them, but yeah. But even though, like, here's the thing, why is it so amazing? Even though you might be talking to someone who comes from, you know, high society, someone who's like a educated person, their character, the way they talk, might still be simple and relatable and natural.
The crowd was looking forward to it, and right at the start, and then he took the tongs and the fellow kicked the bucket right away. Jesus. And then furious as a rabbit.
Let's say there is a character called Sir Hanish. I forgot his title exactly, but he's basically the mayor, or like the ruler of the Ratai town. So every time when you have a cutscene with him talking to you or someone else, that guy, even though he comes from high society, the way he talks is just natural. He's smart, but at the same time, he's a simple person. He makes a lot of jokes. And you would think that this guy is actually supposed to be a, sort of like more of a just a common villager, but he's not. Here's a funny fact: he cannot read. I didn't know that until the end of the game that he cannot read. I assumed every person that like a ruler of the castle or like every ruler in the game knows how to read. This guy doesn't know how to read, and it sort of shows. It shows his character how simple he is, you know. So there's a lot of characters. Oh, there's Priest. I forgot his name. Father Goodwin. When you meet him, you're gonna be thinking, oh, it's just a regular priest, you know, nothing interesting about him. But then the more you talk to him, the more the more things get revealed about him, and there's quests that's so much fun. At some point, you're gonna get even like have a chance to get drunk together, talk together about a lot of things, and it's gonna lead to some crazy chain of events. I don't want to spoil everything, but one of the things you will be doing, like kind of fist fighting against people while being drunk with the priest as your like teammate, basically, the companion.
Enough of this. Bailiff, come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can ride is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
Wow.
Look at that Giga Chat on the right.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Okay, priest. Okay, father. Let's do it. That's hilarious. And at the end of the quest, you realize that Father Goodwin is actually much, much deeper as you initially would think of. Like, I honestly was surprised. I don't want to spoil this, but I liked him in the beginning. I like him. I started to like him even more in the middle of the quest, getting to know him. But then I started thinking about everything what happened, and I started to like, as his character, his principles, they kind of pushed me away. I was like, okay, this person in real life, I would call him like, in a way, a hypocrite. Even though I enjoy the quest with him, and I enjoyed his character. But when I started thinking about what his principles, his goals, what he wants to do, I was thinking, and as I caught myself on the thought, well, actually in real life, I would call you a hypocrite. I wouldn't want to do anything with you. And there's so many funny quests. There's so many quests with just unexpected things out of the blue. There's several quests that are connected to some kind of like a witchcraft thing, to witches. And one of those quests was hella funny and unexpected, the way everything happened.
Me! Take me! No, me!
And then I made a decision based off my feelings, and basically it wasn't a great decision, but whatever. At the end of the day, I had fun. This quest design, narrative, all great, except I would say, as I mentioned before, there's like a minus. The realistic approach to some of the quests was pushing me away from having fun. Again, some of the quests would just send me 3,000 miles away to a different side of the map, and then it would tell me, "Oh, you have to go there, you have to go there." And I was playing on a hardcore mode, which doesn't allow you to do fast travel, so you have to actually travel. No, no, no. No way, no way, no way. No freaking way. How? How? It's the same bridge. No! God damn it. I made the circle. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was here. I was right here. I was here. Then I got here and then I came back over. Oh my god. So from point A to point B so many times, and it wasn't fun. Some of the quests could have been just done, like you pick up them in one town and you finish in one town. Maybe not, like you have to go outside somewhere, you gotta go far away, but not really that far. And another problem in the ending is, what word I would use? Abrupt? That's the word? Not really satisfying. It's a minus. It's a honestly kind of like a big problem. I will explain. I'm gonna try not to spoil anything, but basically the game ends out of nowhere, out of the blue. Like you feel like your story, your journey just become, you know, something big. You just started to get through the chain of events, just go one after another. There's something big going on, there's big fights, and you feel like you're pretty close to your task, like completing your... In the beginning of the game, it gives you 2 quests. Basically, avenge your family and get your stuff back. Get your stuff back. I'm not gonna say exactly what you have to get back, but it tells you you have to get it back. And you know what happens? So nothing. Like the game ends in such a way that none of those big tasks, the big goals that you have from the beginning of the game gets resolved. None of them. Which is crazy. Like I cannot like think of any other game that has the same issue. Like this is like the first time in my life when I was playing the game and I still have my 2 main quests uncompleted in my journal. And it's normal. That's the way it should be. By the game design, of course. I was just shocked. I didn't get any satisfaction from the ending. It felt like it was just getting more and more intense. You're just getting closer to get your stuff back, and at the same time, avenging your family. Sorry for spoilers, but it happens in the very beginning of the game, and it's been 7 years since the game was released. So I think I can tell you that. Like your family gets slaughtered, so you have to kind of go and avenge them. The thing is, you're not avenging anyone. Hard to explain, and I just spoiled you. Actually, I didn't realize it, but I spoiled you. I'm probably gonna have to edit this moment and just say spoiler ahead. The game ends and nothing happens.
Here she is, as I promised. Not a hair on her head harmed. Stephanie.
Someone tell him she cheated on him.
For letting them into the castle.
Come now, my dear. You're not to blame.
Bro, like I cannot take it.
I didn't know who he was.
It basically tells you you have so much ahead of you to do. None of your goals are completed. Good luck in the second game. I'm not really a fan of this kind of approach. I think you can make a game that leaves a lot of questions unanswered. So much for playing it for such a long time. Yes. I mean, I don't regret it because the second game is coming like in a couple weeks or something. I don't know if I'm gonna play it right away, but I'm not really a fan of this kind of approach. I think because games take so many years to develop, and you should not do that. You should not do that. You should finish the game in a way that at least some of the goals that you got set in the beginning, you could have completed. And then you could have, if you need to, if you're feeling like, oh, the story is just like the beginning, you can give some hints or you can set up you can show something they're gonna set up, make a setup for the next game, right? But it feels like the first entire game is a setup for the second. It's just the first entire game is just one huge, and I'm speaking from the narrative standpoint, like from the entire like main storyline. It's a huge setup for the second game, and I'm just not a fan of this kind of approach. I think some of the things should be resolved. Let's say fighting the main bad guy. That's you should set like one bad guy for the beginning of the game, and then you have to defeat that guy or do something to that guy by the end of the game. It doesn't happen here necessarily. I'm not gonna spoil. I already kind of did, but it doesn't really happen here. It sort of happens. You get some revenge, I would say, but not really. Just imagine for a second if in Mass Effect 1, it's just like one of the examples. If in Mass Effect 1, you, after visiting, I don't remember the name of the planet. After visiting the planet that has a direct teleport to Citadel to fight the main Reaper, I forgot the main basically bad guy of the first game, like that Reaper ship. Anyway, imagine at the end of Mass Effect 1, you get into that teleport. Wait, the game tells you gotta get to this teleport to Citadel and fight. There's two bad guys. There is a ship, there is a Reaper, and there is a Spectre, ex-Rogue Spectre. So you have those two bosses right ahead of you that you have to finish. Saren, yes. Saren. Not Saren, Saren. And imagine you teleport to Citadel. You go to the teleport to the Citadel, but it ends right there, basically. You're about to have a huge fight. You're about to complete like the initial task that you were set for yourself, which is to stop Saren from whatever he wants to do, to stop the Reaper from whatever the Reaper wants to do. Imagine you go to the teleport on the planet to go to the Citadel for the final fight, but the final fight doesn't happen. And it just tells you, hey, there's so much ahead of you. You're gonna fight them in the second game. Or sort of you kind of stop them, but they're still alive. And they kind of, like, imagine you still go to the Citadel, you stop Saren, and you stop the Reaper, but you don't really kill them. And imagine they just run away. And they tell you something, oh, we will come back. Would it be a satisfying ending? I don't think so. But besides that, the main story is pretty... Of course, no. Yeah. But besides the ending issue... So, with everything what I just said, I'm not gonna calculate the amount of pluses and minuses, you know, like whatever. It's just for myself, for you to know. With everything what I just said, I give the game solid 4 out of 5. Or, you know, by American standard, 8 out of 10. That's the final score for the game. two main issues, or two main problems why I wouldn't give like 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 are combat doesn't work. Do you have a subscription? How do you use my emojis? Or emojis, calling them. So the two main issues I would say that were super annoying, could have been done better, that affected my score is that combat. Okay, going back. Two main issues. Combat doesn't work the way it's supposed to be working. Sometimes it's not fun, especially in the very beginning of the game. The camera fighting crowds, it's not working. So it can become really annoying. And it was until I got like the best gear in the game and literally no one can kill me anymore. Like, I'm just running around. I don't even need to fight them, to be honest. I can practically one-shot the guys. They can hit me 5, 10, 20 times. I'm still gonna survive everything. But before, when everything was, you know, kind of scary, you didn't have a good armor, if you fight 2, 3 guys at the same time, you're just instantly getting killed. But not because you have a skill issue, it's because it's just the combat doesn't work the way it's supposed to be working. And the second problem is basically the ending. I'm just not satisfied with the ending. Yeah, this is like realistic. Some of the realistic aspects of the game also could be annoying. And as I said, it just needs a little bit better balancing. It could be like a big issue. But I would say the ending, and yeah, I think this too, realistic approach to some things, and the ending, all together just minus 0.5 or 1. Yeah, I think it's fair. And I hope in the second game they're gonna fix, at least they're gonna fix combat. They're gonna polish the quests. They're gonna balance realistic aspects, mechanics, so it wouldn't be as annoying in some cases. And maybe I'm not gonna be angry if they're gonna be trying to lean towards like more of a fun balancing, you know, trying to make it less realistic and more fun. I think it's actually gonna be a big plus. Overall, I would recommend anyone to try it. You should try it. There's a chance that you're gonna have a lot of fun, and definitely you're gonna get a unique experience. But literally in this game, you have to learn how to read. What the hell is even this? Inilsu ist ibre tamausu at non aliqua apr prosi. Libri muti amgistri snat oitimus orator ist or est qui pasci verbis prima dicit. And the demon is gonna be summoned behind my back. I have no idea what it is. Bro, you gave me an impossible task. Like, what any other game, like, give me any other example of any game where you have to learn how to read. I maybe know 1 or 2, I'm not sure. But yeah, just think of the game that you have to literally learn how to, I mean, not exactly like, or you have to buy a piece of armor for every part of your body, legs, arms, chest, helmet, thighs, and there's also, you have to buy armor to put on top of the armor that you already have, like extra protection. There's so many things. There's so many little things there and there that will be just blow your mind away. Some of the mechanics that you're probably gonna be annoyed by, but at the same time, it will still it will still be like a unique experience. Guys, I didn't make any post credits for this video because I'm lazy. I just want to say I have a little announcement for you. I'm currently streaming Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, so if you want to show up to my stream, just find it. The link is gonna be in my description. All right, thank you, warriors.